5 tips that can improve your painting by Agio. First tip. Prime your canvas at least 6 to 7 times. Why do you need to prime it 6 to 7 times? You need to prime it at least 6 to 7 times because the canvas is so absorbent. It's made out of cloth, so if you don't prime it 6 to 7 times, observe the color of your paint after it dries. It will be dull. You will notice this if you had painted before. This is the reason why, but if you primed it 6 to 7 times, you will have a brighter color retention even after your paint dries up. It still has a brighter color. I will tell you a story that happened to me before I primed the canvas 6 to 7 times. I used to just prime the canvas once thinking that I could save money by priming it only once, but when I started painting my composition, I noticed that after it dried up, it was not the same as when I first painted it. The color turned dull, so I had to paint over it several times before it turned out the way I wanted it to be. So, in the long run I was spending more money on more expensive paint because it is more expensive than the primer. Second tip. In mixing colors, use the color wheel. Why? Using the color wheel is very important, specifically in color mixing, because it will help you to see which colors contrast each other. The colors that are in opposite on the color wheel are the colors that contrast each other, and the colors in between the wheel are the colors you mix to produce the colors. I will tell you of the experience I had before I was using the color wheel. I was struggling in mixing colors and some colors seemed to drown in the mix and did not turn out the way I wanted it to be, but after I used the color wheel, I had a better understanding of how to mix paint. Third, use black or white. Use black to darken, or white lighten the tones of the paint. For example, if you want to produce a darker tone of red, just add a little black. Now be very careful when you mix black with the colors because black is very strong and dominant. Just add a little bit of black and explore in color mixing. The experience I had before I used black and white. Before I just mixed colors without using black and white, but when I learned the use of black and white, I learned it was indeed very important producing colors and tones. Fourth tip, explore in color mixing. Painting is a skill, so you can improve by doing it. There are things you need to do so you can see for yourself what happens when we mix paint. Make a composition just mixing paint. This activity will help you overcome the fear of mixing paint. Before I did this activity I had the fear of mixing paint. I was afraid I could make a mistake and got stuck for a long time in finishing a painting, but after I had this activity, it helped me overcome the fear of mixing paint, because there is no fear in exploring just what happens when we mix paint. Just explore what new things you can do just by mixing paint. Fifth tip, make swatches of the color that you use and make your own color wheel so you can see how colors affect each other when you mix them to better understand colors. Do not be afraid to mix colors after you make the color wheel. Explore by mixing paint. Having a better understanding of colors will help you overcome the fears of mixing paint. This fear is brought about by the lack of understanding of color. So, if you want to overcome this fear, follow these tips and see what happens. Before I made swatches, I had very little knowledge of how colors were produced, but after I made my own swatches of colors, I learned more of how other colors and tones are made. I now have a better understanding of colors and these simple tips helped me improve.